our team is kind of in a position where I think we're outside of the playoffs tonight. So I'm looking at Amari Stoudemire and Rob Height, being guys who played for the Miami Heat.
When you talk about Julius Erving, you're talking about innovation, a high-flying pioneer who transformed basketball into artistry. Known as Dr. J with gravity-defying dunks and incredible skill, he became one of the most electrifying players in NBA history. His legacy isn't just anchored in highlight reels, but also in the fierce competition he faced from some of the greatest players to ever step on the court. So, let's dive into the battles, moments, and matchups that defined his career against these incredible players. Bill Walton, the towering genius. Few opponents challenged Dr. J quite like Bill Walton. With his towering presence, raw skill, and genius-level basketball IQ, Walton wasn't just imposing, he was transformative. Known for his impeccable shot blocking and pinpoint passing, Walton was a master at controlling the game on both ends of the floor. Their face-off in the 1977 NBA Finals remains one of the most iconic player matchups in basketball history. It was Julius's Philadelphia 76ers, powered by his explosive athleticism, versus Walton's Portland Trailblazers. Julius showed why he was the star of the league, averaging an impressive 30 points throughout the series. He dazzled the crowd with soaring dunks, fast break finishes, and unstoppable drives to the basket. But Walton wasn't intimidated. Instead, he matched Julius's heroics with his quiet yet relentless leadership. Walton was never flashy. Instead, his brilliance was showcased in efficiency and teamwork. Game 6 was the decisive battle, a moment that solidified Walton's greatness. Walton recorded a staggering 20 points, 23 rebounds, and 8 assists, leading the Blazers to victory and earning Finals MVP honors. For Julius, it was never just a loss, it was an education. After the series, Dr. J openly admired Walton's ability to control the pace of the game and read opposing defenses with surgical precision. Julius even compared Walton to a chess master who was always 3 steps ahead. He was the kind of player who didn't need words. His actions shaped the game. What made Walton truly special was his approach to the game. His unmatched ability to elevate his team made him a nightmare matchup for Dr. J and a player he deeply respected. While Julius dazzled fans with artistry, Walton's quiet genius stood as the perfect opposing force, creating one of the basketball's greatest duels. George Gervin, the ice-cold scorer, nicknamed the Iceman with one word, unstoppable. Known for his unshakable calm under pressure and his lethal scoring touch, George earned his place as one of the greatest scorers the game has ever seen. When Julius Erving and George clashed, the results were nothing short of legendary battles defined by pure skill, finesse, and basketball brilliance. Their rivalry took center stage during the ABA years, where their head-to-head matchups often felt like chess games played at lightning speed. Both players revolutionized the game in their own way. Julius with his jaw-dropping athleticism and above-the-rim style, and George with his smooth, calculated scoring that seemed effortless. The 1976 ABA playoffs delivered one of their most iconic moments. Erving's New York Nets were staring down elimination, and George's San Antonio Spurs were rolling behind George's ice-cold dominance. In this defining game, Gervin poured in 34 points, showcasing his signature touch from anywhere on the court. But Dr. J was never willing to back down. Julius exploded for 40 points of his own while adding 12 rebounds, digging deep to push his team to survive a thrilling battle and stay alive in the postseason. What made George special, Julius later revealed, was that he could take the hardest shot and make it look beautiful. Smooth, like there wasn't a single effort behind it. You couldn't rattle him, no matter what defense you threw at him. Defense didn't matter against George. He could spin through traffic, glide past defenders, and unleash the finger roll, a move so special that it remains a cornerstone of basketball history. For Dr. J, playing against the Iceman wasn't just about competition. It was about a clash that reminded him how much greatness there is to admire. Moses Malone, the relentless force. Few players embodied pure grit and power on a basketball court like Moses Malone. While Dr. J eventually teamed up with Malone during the Sixers' iconic 1983 championship run, facing him as an opponent was a nightmare. Moses was a relentless workhorse who dominated both ends of the floor like few had ever seen. What made Malone so overwhelming was his ability to thrive in the toughest moments. Hustle plays, he invented them. Scoring in the paint, No one matched his consistency. His effort was unmatched, and playing against him meant you were in for a long physical battle. Their showdown in a 1981 regular season game illustrates the sheer intensity of Malone's game. Leading the Houston Rockets against the Sixers, Malone was unstoppable, recording an astonishing 36 points and 22 rebounds. Julius Erving, displaying his own brilliance, poured in 28 points, but Malone's physicality and tireless energy defined the contest. No rebound was safe, no defensive effort good enough to stop him. Dr. J later admitted what so many opponents had come to realize. Facing Moses was as much about mental endurance as it was about physical skill. He had this mindset. You knew every rebound was his, Julius said in an interview years later. If you weren't ready to fight for every possession, you weren't going to stand a chance against him. It was like Malone was in two places at once, grabbing loose balls and scoring second-chance points before defenders even had time to react. Playing against Moses was about outlasting someone whose engine never stopped. He was a force of nature, a man who played every game like it was life or death, skill, power, and endless fight. That's what made Malone one of Dr. J's all-time toughest opponents. Magic Johnson, the master of Showtime. When Dr. J talks about Magic Johnson, his tone is one of deep respect and awe. He describes Magic as a basketball savant, a player who didn't just play the game, he controlled it. Magic had this extraordinary ability to dictate the pace, spread energy across every teammate, and turn even simple plays into highlights. For Erving, facing Magic was about competing against someone who owned the court like it was his stage. The battles between Erving's 7 Sixers and Magic's Showtime Lakers looked less like basketball games and more like epic clashes between superpowers. No matchup highlighted this tension more than the 1982 NBA Finals. On one side stood Erving, armed with electrifying dunks and unstoppable drives. On the other, Magic, orchestrating the Lakers with his signature vision. The series showed how powerful Magic truly was, not just as an individual talent, but as the catalyst that made the Lakers an unstoppable force. Magic earned Finals MVP that year for good reason. With stats like 16.2 points, 10.8 rebounds, and 8 assists per game, he didn't just contribute, he led. In Game 5, under the crushing weight of championship pressure, Julius exploded for 27 points, pulling every ounce of skill from his arsenal to keep the Sixers alive. But Magic responded like a true leader, using passes that sliced through Philly's defense, racking up rebounds as if every missed shot belonged to him, and energizing his teammates every time the stakes climbed higher. The challenge wasn't just about stopping Magic's game, it was dealing with his mind. Erving elaborated in interviews. Magic had a way of making the whole team better. You couldn't take a break against him because he'd find even the tiniest opening and turn it into something spectacular. He was Showtime personified. Beyond the stats, Magic left an impression as one of Erving's most worthy adversaries, embodying the timeless beauty of basketball. Larry Bird, the fierce competitor. If there was one player who Julius Erving genuinely felt his rivalry with, it was Larry Bird. He didn't just play basketball, he fought like every possession was a battle he refused to lose. Their matchups in the late 70s and 80s were stories of grit, skill, and relentless determination on both sides. The fire ignited during their intense clashes, especially during the regular seasons and playoffs when the Celtics and Sixers faced off in heated battles. One moment stands out, a 1980 game where Bird delivered a flawless triple-double 28 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists to orchestrate a Boston victory. Julius responded with a dazzling performance of his own, pouring in 32 points and battling every step of the way. But no matter how many breathtaking dunks or clutch moments Julius provided, Bird's brilliance always kept the Celtics ahead in this matchup. Bird knew how to control the pace of a game, finding his shooters and outmaneuvering defenders, even when they thought they had him locked down. Julius recalled Bird's unforgiving nature, saying Larry was tough. He made every possession a war. They were never just opponents. They were two men whose competitive edges made every interaction electric. The peak of their rivalry hit in 1984 during an infamous on-court brawl. It was a fiery passion boiling over. Bird wasn't afraid to look Julius in the eye and tell him exactly how he planned to beat him, fueling a competitive fire Julius couldn't ignore. As much as I disliked battling him, I respected him, Julius admitted. Bird's unique mix of grit, swagger, and absolute brilliance made him one of Erving's fiercest rivals and the ultimate competitor in a war of basketball titans. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the legendary Big. Kareem stood as a monument to consistency and dominance, armed with 6 MVPs, 6 championships, and the unmatched ability to control every facet of the game. If Julius represented creativity and flair, Kareem symbolized steady efficiency and unstoppable force. One classic showdown occurred during the 1980 NBA Finals, the brightest stage in basketball. Julius's Philadelphia 76ers were pitted against Kareem's Los Angeles Lakers. Both legends left an indelible mark on the series. Kareem averaged an unthinkable 33 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 blocks per game, showcasing the breadth of his talent in every matchup. On the other side, Julius delivered moments of sheer brilliance, including his iconic mid-air reverse layup, a play that remains etched in NBA history. However, as unstoppable as Erving's highlight plays were, Kareem's mastery of the skyhook proved to be the deciding factor. In Game 5, Kareem put up 40 points and completely dominated inside the paint despite being slowed by an ankle injury. Although Julius had 36 points of his own that game, leading the Sixers, Kareem's ability to execute under pressure powered the Lakers to a series-defining win. In the end, the Lakers took the championship with Kareem's performance as the cornerstone of the victory. Kareem never broke a sweat, Julius admired in interviews after their battles. It felt like he could play perfect basketball in his sleep. Even when you thought you had him figured out, he'd hit yet another skyhook, and suddenly, it was 5 points later than you thought. While Julius defined style, Kareem embodied substance, and together they captured the essence of greatness. Dr. J faced these legends, not just as opponents but as forces that shaped his career. Each player challenged a different aspect of Julius's game, pushing him to evolve and become the legendary figure we know today. Through soaring dunks and battles with titans, Julius Erving cemented his place in basketball's pantheon. So, who's the closest player to Dr. J's athleticism today? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. All right, that's all for today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.